Hello, my dear friends. Today we're learning Baba Basra Daf Kuf Lamed Tes. Today is 12 months from when my grandmother Rochel Masha Bas Chaya Esther Bas Yaakov Yosef Herman passed away. So I want to Beshir Shabila Ilu Nishmosa. We're going to start Kuf Lamed Ches Amud Beis at the bottom Mishnah. So we learned early on that a father could give his nechosim to his son, that should belong to his son from now, the gufa karka, but the period says only after he passes away. So this is the continuation of that Mishnah that we learned before. The Mishnah continues and says, "Av toleshu ma'achil lechol mi sheirtzeh, ma sheiniach talush areu shel yorshim." So says the Mishnah that in such a situation that we learned in the last Mishnah, the father could take fruit and feed whoever he wants. The fruit is totally his. And continues the Mishnah and says, when he passed away and he left fruit that's already cut off the field, it belongs to all the Yorshim and not to the kid who he gave it specifically. Let's say he gave this field to Shimon, but what's Tolush already, what's cut, all the brothers split at the Yerusha because that's not part of what he gave to Shimon. Because Shimon, he gave the Gufa Karka and it becomes him to the Paris only after he passes away. This is already cut, therefore all the Yorshim split up. Says the Gemara, Talush in mechubar lo, kuf lametet amud aleph, v'atanya shamin et המחוברים ללוקח, אמרו לה לא קשה, כאן בבנו כאן באחר, אויל ודעתו של אדם קרובה אצל בנו. Says the Gemara diuk. It says in the Mishnah, we learn dafka tolush, the din is that it's considered the father, and therefore all the brothers split. But if it's, let's say, there's fruit that's on the land that didn't get cut off yet when the father was alive and he passed away, it goes all to the son, to Shimon, the one he gave it to him as a present, Michael. Says the Gemara Kasha, we learn to the Brisa that we estimate what's connected to the Loikech in a case where, let's say, the son, Shimon, who got it sold to the Loikech, to a third person, this field, and he said, when my father passed away, it becomes yours. So now the father passed away, so we estimate the fruit that's on the field still, and he has to give that to the Yorshim. And by us we said, Dafka Tolush, here we see even Mechuba. On that Ola says no kasha. There's a difference between your son and someone else. If it's your son, the father's close to him, and therefore he wants a son to get, if he gave it his this specific son this field, he wants him to get even what's Mechuba la Karka. That shouldn't be split between the other Yorshim. But if it's a random person, someone else, in that case he's not so close to him, and therefore the Paris, even though that is still Mechuba la Karka, he wants that to go to all the Yorshim. And therefore, in the case of a Loikech, we split the Mechubar la Karka between all the Yorshim. Says the Mishnah Kuf Lamed Tes Amud Aleph, הניח בנים גדולים וקטנים. אין הגדולים מתפרנסים על ידי הקטנים, ולא הקטנים ניזונים על הגדולים. אלא חולקים בשווה. נשאו הגדולים, יישאו הקטנים. ואם אמרו קטנים, הרי אנו נוסעים כדרך שנסעתם אתם, אין שומעים להם, אלא מה שנתן להם אביהם נתן. So the Mishnah says, someone passed away, Yaakov passed away and he left. Reuven and Shimon who were over bar mitzvah, and Levi and Yehuda were under bar mitzvah. So we don't say that the older ones, Reuven and Shimon, could start taking from the Yerusha to buy a suit, to buy clothes. Misparnasim means clothes. You're not allowed to take clothes. And not the Ktanim, Levi and Yehuda could take food from this Yerusha. And the older ones will lose. So what do? You split the Yerusha into 4 parts, or maybe if Reuven's a Bechor, he gets double, but let's say Reuven's not the Bechor, that's his older sister, you split it b'shaveh, each one gets a quarter, and then each one takes from his chelik, his parnasa, his mizonis. Continues the Mishnah, if the older ones got married from the Yerusha that was left, so the younger ones also could use money from the Yerusha that belongs to everyone to get married. And if the Ktanim said, we want to get married like you got married, so we don't listen to them, and the Gemara is going to explain that means, it's talking about, well, let's say Reuven got married when the father was still alive, and the father made a very fancy wedding, he spent $100,000 on the wedding, and now the father passed away, and now the younger brother says, I also want to have such a wedding from the whole Yerusha, and then we'll split up the Yerusha. In that case, we don't listen. And the Gemara is going to explain the difference between the two cases, that the difference is if Reuben took money from the Yerusha of everyone, so the lady could also take. But if Reuven got married when the father was still alive, then lady can't say, I also want such a wedding. Continue the Mishnah, הניח בנות גדולות וקטנות, אין הגדולות מתפרנסות על ידי הקטנות, ולא הקטנות ניזונות על הגדולות, אלא חולקות בשווה. נשאו גדולות יישאו קטנות, ואם אמרו קטנות, הרי אנו נוסעות כדרך שנשאתם אתם, אין שומעים להם. So the Mishnah tells us that the same dinim apply by a woman, that if the father left adult women over bas mitzvah and young girls, so we don't say the older girls could take clothes from the Yerusha before they split, or the younger girls could take food from the Yerusha before they split. No, you have to split it and then each one takes from his part. And if the older ones got married from the Yerusha, so the younger ones also could get married from the Yerusha. But if the younger ones say, I want to get married like you got married when the father was still alive, then we don't listen to them. Finishes off the Mishnah. וחומר בבנות מבנים, שהבנות ניזונות על הבנים ואין ניזונות על הבנות. What's more chumradik by girls than men? That if a father passes away and he has boys and girls, so the girls have the first right to get food from the Yerusha, like we're going to learn in the next parak. Masha'en kein, if there's only girls, so you don't say the young girls will get binizoines before they split up the Yerusha. No, you split up the Yerusha fairly. The whole din of bonis nukvan that they eat from the Yerusha is only when there's bonim, but if there's no bonim, there's no such a din. Says the Gemara, Amar Rava, Ahai gadel achi delavash v'ichsi v'beita mai da'avad avad. והענתנן אין הגדולים מתפרנסים על הקטנים. מתניתים בשרחה, שרחה פשיטה, מעודתם הניחה לו דלונים ועל כמה שמלן. So Rava comes and says, older brother, the oldest brother was in charge of all this Yerusha to make sure that it's sold for good value, etc., who went and took from the Yerusha money and he bought a nice suit that he could do business with. What he did. And it's okay. On that, the Gemara asks in our Mishnah, it says clearly that the older ones can't take clothes from the Yerusha before it's split up. On that, the Gemara answers, our Mishnah is talking about a brother, older brother, who's not dealing with the Yerusha. He's a bum, he's not doing anything. On that, the Gemara asks, if it's Toma Sarcha, such a type of son, Pshita, obviously you can't buy clothes from the Yerusha. The Yerusha belongs to everyone. On that, the Gemara answers, you might have thought that even the younger brothers don't mind, at least he should have what to wear, he shouldn't look like a tramp. He should have nice clothes, and therefore they don't mind him using the money from the Yerusha to buy decent clothes. Kumash Mala, no, each one gets his part, and once he split up each one's part, then he can buy nice clothes. We learned in the Mishnah, Nasu Gdolim, Isu Ktanim. Said the Gemara, Mai Kamar, Amar Rav Yuda Achi Kamar, Nasu Gdolim לאחר מיתת אביהן, Isu Ktanim לאחר מיתת אביהן, אבל נשאו גדולים בחיי אביהם, אמרו קטנים לאחר מיתת אביהן, הרי אנו נוסעים כדרך שנשאתם אתם, אין שומעים להם, אלא מה שנתן להם אביהם נתן. So the Gemara asks, we already explained in the Mishnah, but the Mishnah really is a contradiction. It says that if the older ones got married from the money of the Yerusha, the second ones can. And then it says straight afterwards, if the younger ones say, we want to get married like you, they can't. What's happening here? And that the Gemara asks, my Omer. And the Gemara explains, the Rav Yudah says that this is pshat. If the older ones married from the money from the Yerusha after the father passed away, so the younger ones also can marry from the Yerusha before you split it up. But if the older ones married when the father was still alive, then the younger ones can't say, we also want such a wedding and then we'll split it up. No. What the father gave, now it's a Yerusha. He split the Yerusha fairly. We learned in the Mishnah, הניח בנות גדולות וקטנות. שלח ליבוע בר גניבה לרבה, ילמדנו רבנו, לבתה ואכלה ועמדה ונישאת. בעל לוקח עווה או יורש עווה. לוקח עווה ומלווה על פה אינו גובה מן הלקוחות. או דילמה, יורש עווה ומלווה על פה גובה מן היורשים. So this Shaila, Avua, the son of Geniva, asked Rava. He said, teach us, my Rebbe, what's the din in the following case? So before we say the following case, we'll just explain that if Reuven takes a loan from Shimon and there's no shtar, so now he owes Shimon money and now Reuven sold the land that he has, so Shimon can't take the choy from this land because it's called a milva al peh. Milva al peh doesn't take from the kuchas, only a milva b'shtar. So Avua bar Ganiva asked Rava, what's the din if a daughter took a loan after the father passed away, and then she ate food, and then she got married. The question is, and then when she gets married, all her possessions that she yarshin from her father becomes her husband's. The question is, what din does the husband have in these nechosim? Does he have a din loikeach, or does he have a din yorish? And what's an afkimina? If he's a loikeach, so the alvo alpeh that this woman took from the malve, she can't take from the kuchas. The husband's a loikeach. It's as if he bought it from the daughter that he married her. So therefore he can't be goyim milval pei no goyim shubodim from the kuchas. But if the baal is considered a yorish, so the din is, even alvo baal peh, the malve could be toivea, could claim it from the yorshim. So what's the din? Does this baal have a din yorish, or does he have a din loikeach? Omalei, so Rava answered to him, Tanina, nasu gdolot isu ktanot. My love, nasu gdolot labal isu ktanot mibal. Lo, nasu gdolot labal isu ktanot labal. So Rava wanted to bring a raya from our Mishnah. In our Mishnah it says that if the older ones married from the Yerusha, the younger ones also could marry from the Yerusha. So the Rava understood, it's talking about that the older ones took a loan. Just 1 second. Yeah, so the older ones took from the Yerusha, and now they got married. So the younger ones could come to the Baal and claim, listen, we want our part back, like she got married from the Yerusha, we also want from the Yerusha. And who do they claim from? They claim from the husband. How could they claim from the husband? It's alvo alpeh. Elamai, we could see the husband is considered a Yeresh, not a Leikeach. On that the Gemara is doicheno. It says that the older ones took from the Yerusha, and then the younger ones also could take from the Yerusha that's left. It doesn't mean that they could come and claim from the husband of this older one. And therefore you don't have no raya. Ask the Gemara, Amy, Vatani Rabchia, Nasuk Dorot Labal, Isuk Tanot Mibal. The Gemara asks clearly, Rabchia Guris in his brisa that's on the Mishnah that says the same, but it says clearly that if the older ones took from the Yerusha and they got married, the younger ones could go to the husband of the older one and say, you owe us money. So it says clearly that the husband is considered a Yeresh if he claim from him. On that the Gemara's doicha dilme shiny parnoso de islay kala. Maybe it's different. When a girl, the question we asked was when a daughter borrowed money to eat and she used it and then she got married, can the malve come to the husband and claim or not? Over here it's talking about the daughter took the money to get married. When a woman takes money to get married, everyone knows about it. And since everyone knows about it, it's considered like alva b'shtar. And by alva b'shtar, you could be goyve from the kuchos. So that's why Rab Chia's Guris on his brisa that the ktanos could be goyve from the husband of the older daughter, because it's like alva b'shtar, because there's a coil, there's a sound, people know about it. But in a case where there's no sound, where it's just a loan to eat food, maybe the din is that you can't be taking from the Baal. Continue the Gemara, Amar le Rapapa le Rava, Lava hainu deshalich rabin ba'agarte, mi shemet v'iniach almana ubat almanato nizonet minechsav, niset הבת almanato nizonet minechsav, meta הבת, Amar Rabbi Yehuda ben achoto shel Rabbi Yossi ben Chanina, על ידי היה מעשה ואמרו אלמנתו ניזונת מנכסיו. היא אמרת בשלמה יורש משום אחי אלמנתו ניזונת מנכסיו. אלא היא אמרת לו ככה ואמה היא ניזונת מנכסיו. So the Gemara says, Rav Papa says to Rava, is this not what Rabin sent from Eretz Yisrael to Bovel in his letter, saying that if someone passes away and he left a almona and a daughter, so his almona is allowed to eat from the nechosim that the husband left. It's called mezonis. If the daughter got married, so the almona continues and she still eats from the nechosim of the husband. If the daughter who got married died, so Rav Yehuda, the son of the sister of Rabbi Yossi ben Chanina, said, this story, and they said, the Chachamim said, that the almona could still eat from the nechosim of the husband, even though that the daughter, the wife of this husband, passed away. Says it more, if you're going to tell me the husband in the nechosim of his wife is considered a Yerush, very good, because the almona is nizonis min nechosim, because almona is nizonis min nichsi Yerushim. But if you're going to tell me Zaroikeach, we know that if the father, a husband of someone sold nechosim and he passed away and left no nechosim, the almona can't go to lekuchas and claim from the lekuchas. So if this Baal of the daughter is considered a loikeach, how could the almona be goiva from the nechosim? Elamai, we could see from the letter that Rabbi sent from Eretz Yisrael that the din is the almona, that a husband is considered a yoresh, because otherwise he wouldn't be able to take the almona wouldn't be able to take nizonis from him. Amar Abaye, ilav deshalach rabin anan lo yadinam. והתנן אלו שאין חוזרים ביובל, הבכורה, קל"ט עמוד ב', והיורש את אשתו. Abaye says, we need Rabbin with his letter from Eretz Yisrael to bring a riot to the subject to have a clear Mishnah. The Mishnah says, well, the thing that in Yovel in the 50 years, what normally goes back to the Loikeach, if I buy a field after 50 years, when the Yovel comes, I have to give it back. Says a Mishnah, what the thing that don't go back in the Yovel? Two things. First of all, the Bechorah, oldest son Reuven who got double because of the Bechorah, and then the Yovel comes, doesn't have to give back his Bechorah to his brothers. And the second case is, someone who yarshins his wife, when Yovel comes, he doesn't have to give the Yerusha back to the family of the wife. So what do we see from there clearly? That he's considered a Yerush. If he was a Roikeach, if he was like a buyer, when you buy a field, you have to give it back in the Yovel. Elamai, we can see clearly he's a Yerush. So why do we need Ravin? We have a clear Mishnah. Continue the Gemara. Amar le Rava. Ve'ashta deshalich mi'adinan. אמר רבי יוסי בר חנינא באושה התקינו האישה שמכרה נכסי מילוג בחיי הבעלה ומתה, הבעל מוציא מיד הלקוחות. So, Abaye asked, why do we need Ravin? We have a clear Mishnah. Rava asked, what do you mean? Now that we have Ravin, it's clear to you that the Yerush, I'll bring you a clear raya that a Baal is considered a Loikech, not a Yerush. And what's the raya? The Rabbi Yossi, the son of Rabbi Chanina, said that Usha was a place, one of the 10 places that Sanhedrin, after they left Yerushalayim, he went to. They made a takona that there is a din of Nichse Milug. Nichse Milug means the chosim that the woman brings in when she gets married, that the husband eats Paris. And if the husband dies or divorces her, he has to give her back the field, but not the Paris that he ate. And what happened was, the woman went when she was married and sold this field, and she has the land, she doesn't have the Paris, and now, so if the husband dies really, so now she go back to the wife, it goes to the Loikeach. But what happened if the woman died before the husband? So they made a takona in Usha, in this place called Usha, the Sanhedrin made a takona, that in such a case, that a woman sold the nechosim, and she passed away before the Baal, so the nechosim don't go, we don't say, oh, now they're not married anymore, she go to Lekuchas. No, the Baal gets the first right, and he gets his nechosim, and it becomes totally his. So we could see that the Baal is considered a Loikeach, as if he bought it when he got married to the woman from the woman. Because if he was only a Yerush, the Loikeach has a right more than the Yerush, because the Yerusha happened after, only when the woman died, and the Loikeach bought it first. So Elamai, we can see from over there, the husband, the Nichse Ishta, is considered Loikeach, not a Yerush, not like what we brought before from Rabbin and from the Mishnah. So we have here a contradiction. We had Rabbin who says that is a Yerush. We had a Mishnah that says the Yerush. Here we see Be'usha Itkinu that is a Loikeach. What's going on? Ela Amar Ravashi Baal Shavinu Rabbanan Keyoresh Veshaviu Rabbanan Kolokeach Ve'echet etavu lei avdu lei Gabi Yovel Shavinu Rabbanan Keyoresh Mishum Seida Didei Gabi de Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina Shaviu Rabbanan Kolokeach Mishum Seida Didei Gabi de Rabbi Mishum Seida de Almana Shavinu Rabbanan Keyoresh. So says Ravashi, depends. Rabbanon, a Baal and Nichse Ishto, sometimes is considered a Yerush, sometimes it's considered Loikeach, and we always look at his benefit. And we explain. Legabi Yovel, that we said that he has a din Yerush, he doesn't have to give it back to the Yovel. We don't want him to lose it. By Yovel, he loses field and he'll have to give it back to the family of the wife. That's why we make him a Yerush. In the case of Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina, in the din of Takona of Usha, he has a din Loikeach. that he's moitzi miyad lekuchas. We made him like a loikech, because if he won't be like a loikech, he'll be like a yerush. He loses nichse milug, and that's why we made him a loikech. And in the case of Rabin, they send in his letter from Eretz Yisrael that even though that the daughter died and the husband Gershon, the almana still feeds, it's because we cared about the almana. In this specific case, we didn't care only about the husband, we cared about the almana, that she should have what to eat, and therefore we put him like a Yerush, and the almana could eat from the Yerusha. Ask the Gemara on this, Vogabe de Rabbi Yosef Bar Chanina, de Ika Pseda lelekuchot, ושבין רבונון כלוקח. הטעם, אינו אפסידו לנפשי כבד יקבע, לא יבא אלו למזבן את הדיית ותות הגברה. The Gemara asks, if you say we care about the loss of everyone, like we care about the loss of the almana and we let her feed even after he yarshin, so in the case of Usha, where the woman sold nichse milug, b'chai balo, and then she passed away before her husband, that we say the baal moitzi me'ad lekuchos, and the lekuchos lose. L'chara the lekuchos lose? Why? Because now that we made the husband of the Lekeach, so he has a first right, and the Lekuchas loses field. If he was a Yerush, the Lekuchas would get the field. So why do we, if we care about everyone, we should care about these Lekuchas who bought this field from the woman? On that the Gemara says, no, they're lost. Because since this woman was married, and she sold it to the Lekuchas shouldn't have bought the land that the husband's eating Paris when she's still married. It's basically the husband has a first right. In such a case, you shouldn't buy the land. You lost yourself. You shouldn't have bought such land from a woman who's married. And since you did buy a land from a woman who's still married and she's under a husband, it's your loss afterwards. When she dies first, the husband takes it away. Hadran alach yesh nochlim. We'll come back to you, B'lineder, Perik yesh nochlim, and we should be zoicha, b'sruas Avraham, Yitzchok, and Yaakov, and all the Shvatim, and Moshe and Aaron, that we should be zoicha to do chazar on this Perik, to remember this Perik, to learn even deeper, to teach it, and to be mekayim all what's written in it. Now we're going to start a new Perik, Perik Mishemes. Says the Mishnah, Mishemet, v'niach banim u'banot, בזמן שהנכסים מרובים, הבנים ירשו והבנות יזונו. נכסים מועטים, הבנות יזונו והבנים ישאלו על הפתחים. אדמון אומר, בשביל שאני זכר הפסדתי, אמר רבי גמליאל, רואה אני את דברי אדמון. So, the Mishnah starts on, we continued in the din of Yerusha. Yaakov passed away, and he left Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, and he left dinner and a twin. So we say, if there was lots of possession that Yaakov left, and we're going to see in the Gemara what's considered the law of possessions. So the kids, Reuven, Shimon, Levi, and Yehuda, will get the Yerusha. Each one will split 4 ways of Yerusha. And the girls will, from this Yerusha that they split, will eat until they get married or until they get old, until they become adults. Like Suva, bonus Nukhwan. But if it's small amount of nechasim, like we give it in the Gemara, what's considered a small amount, so the girls eat from the Yerusha, and the Yerusha is not split to the boys, and the boys go collecting money to have food or go get a job, but they don't take from the Yerusha. On this, Admon said, because I'm a male, I should lose. Why shouldn't I get any part of this Yerusha? But Admon didn't really said what should be the din. And the Gemara is going to explain what should be the din if you Admon. But Admon just said it doesn't make sense that the boys shouldn't get anything. And on Dara Gamaliel says, I see Divra Admon. Admon has a good claim, and therefore what we say in the Reisha that the boys don't get anything is not correct. I feel for Admon. Says the Gemara, Bekama merubin אמר רב יהודה אמר רב, כדי שיזונו מהם אלו ואלה 12 חודש. כי אמריתא כמד שמואל. אמר, זו דברי גמליאל בר רבי, אבל חכמים אומרים, כדי שיזונו מהם אלו ואלו עד שיתגרו. איתמר נמי, כי עתה רבין אמר רב יוחנן, ואמרי לה, אמר רבא בר בר חנא, אמר רב יוחנן, כל שיזונו מהם אלו ואלה עד שיתבגרו הם מרובים. פחות מכאן, הרי אלו מועטים. So the Gemara says, it says that if there is a lot of nechasim, the boys get, and the woman on the from that. The Gemara asks, why is nechasim merubim? So Rav Yehuda says in the name of Rav, if there's enough food that all the boys and all the girls for 12 months could have what to eat from this Yerusha, that's considered Nechosim Merubim, and in that case he split up the Yerusha between the boys and the girls freed from the Yerusha of the boys. And Rabbi Yehuda said, when I said this thing in front of Shmuel, because Rabbi Yehuda learned from Rab, and then he went to Shmuel when Rab passed away, and I said this in the name of Rab, he said, this is Shittas, what you said is the Shitta of Rabbi Gamliel, the son of Rabbi. But Chachomim say, what does it mean, Nechosim Merubim? It means that there's enough to feed for the boys and the girls until they become adults. And only when you have that amount, then the boys get the Yerusha and the girls eat from that. Less than that, as we said, with the Machloikis in the Mishnah. And we learned as well that when Rabin came from Eretz Yisrael, he said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, and some people say it was Rabbi Bar, the grandson of Chana, said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, when there is enough to feed the boys and the girls until they become adults, that's considered merubim. Less than that, it's considered less nechosim yotim, and only the girls get, or Adman argues on that. On that, the Gemara asks, "V'ileke le'elu ve'elu ad she'idberu shakelu bonot lekulu." Does it make sense? So that means you're saying, the shitta we said, that what's called nechosim muatim, if there's not enough for the boys and the girls to feed on until they become adults. So in that case, that the Gemara on Kufmem says, what? So in that case, where there's not enough for the boys and the girls until they become adults, only the girls take everything? Why should the boys not get anything? Let's say it takes 6 years till they become adults. So there's enough only for 5 years to sponsor all these kids. So in that case, only the girls will get and the boys won't get anything. It doesn't make sense. So the Gemara, and some people are Goris Elo and some people are not. Amarava motzi'im lehem mezonot lebanot ad she'yivgeru v'ashar labanim. Rava explained that in the case where there's not enough, let's say there's 6 years until they become adults and there's only enough money for 5 years, so we first of all designate the amount that the girls need until they become adults and we put it aside for the girls. And then what's left, it's not that the boys don't get anything of that, the rest, the boys split fairly, however many boys are left, split it. Doesn't mean the boys get nothing in that case. They'll get, first you designate for the girls that they have enough for their 6 years until they become adults, and what's left the boys split fairly. Thank you very much. We should all be very blessed. Service, Toivis, Bimero, Beomenu.